we'll be kicking off with our first speaker for today. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up on stage to talk about special economic zones and what they mean for small businesses, please put your hands together for Brian Mwau. Oh, Mwau, yes.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Excellent. So I'll be taking you through a quick presentation to talk about special economic zones and how we are doing, what we are doing in Kenya to be able to enable businesses, especially those in business services, to be able to thrive and access the global market, which initially they haven't done it before. So why special economic zones? First, it's because businesses have not been able to thrive in Africa before because of high taxation, lack of access to capital, and also lack of the right infrastructure. And we, a year ago, 3 years ago, we launched the Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center to be able to bridge this gap: access to capital, infrastructure, and even talent. And we listed the first special economic zone that is just business services focused to attract anyone who doesn't want to, deal with goods, deal with products, deal with manufacturing. Bring all these players in the business services sector to come in together to be able to collaborate and work together. And why is these special economic zones are conversation very important and key to this time and time we're living in, and why is it important even for Africa? So if you check on the demographics, the African population is always on the rise because our median age is around 19 years old, and statistics have it that by 2050, 1 in every 4 people living globally will be an African. And that's very beautiful to know. And compared to other regions, other markets, not mentioning names, their population is descending. And that means if you're looking for market, if you're looking for economies of scale, if you're looking for, a market selling products that will be sustainable, then you have to be in Africa. And that's why I believe having this Bitcoin conference in Nairobi is quite timely. And actually, just to mention, what are the numbers actually? By 2050, the population in Africa will have doubled from the current population of around 755, with an increase of around 750, 96 million people, making that population number grow up to around 1.5 billion people. Now, let me narrow down to Kenya. Why Kenya? It's because, of course, we take pride in our GDP, which is at around USD 113. I should have changed that number this morning to do the valuation on Bitcoin. But I realize you can't do that because GDP can't be stable all through. And our population, on my statistics there, is 56 million because I'm referencing back to when last census were done. But that population is around 60 million. And one thing that speaks volumes about the Kenyan population, out of a population of 60 million Kenyan people, we have a working population of 20 million. But also it's very sad and unfortunate to know the number of formally employed people is only 3.5 million. And in that 3.5 million, 1 million people are actually public servants, meaning they've been employed by the government. So the private sector has only been able to create employment for 2.5 million people. So where does the rest number go? Around 16.5 million people. And the biggest number is young people, creating opportunities for them. And I believe that's why this conference is quite timely, giving people access to, fair and, better access to capital. So terrific. Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center, we are a member of Centum Group. Centum is a publicly listed entity both in the Nairobi and Uganda Securities Exchange. We pride ourselves as one of the leading investment companies with over 35,000 thousand shareholders. And we are quite futuristic. And that's why we've come to be part of such a conversation, because we normally see the future. And everything that we promise people tangible wealth. And you cannot promise people tangible wealth without talking about Bitcoin. So we got gazetted back in 2023. That is just a proof that we got gazetted, but doesn't really matter to the people in the room. So we are regulated by the Special Economic Zones Authority, which of course this is pegged under the Kenyan Constitution. So we have a Special Economic Zones Act of 2015. And in that act, there's a regulator called the Special Economic Zones Authority who give 3 types of licenses. First license, of course, goes to the developer. And why developer license is important, we come to give more of the commercial, infrastructure in terms of rental space and all that. Then they normally give an operator license. And now for small businesses who, that are looking to scale and access the global market, they get an enterprise license. And this is a license that warrants you to access a few numbers of, tax incentives. I'm not preaching about what, I'm just giving you insight of what you can be able to take advantage of and leverage and be ahead. So if you get licensed, your small business that you're starting, your startup business that you're starting, or you're looking to scale, because statistics have it that the contribution that Africa is making to the global market is actually less than 5%. The question is why? And how can we take that number up from 5%? Is by being able to give startups and enterprises strategic incentives that will enable them to scale. And part of what we are doing as Triffic and leading the game, of course, any enterprise that operates within a special economic zone or a special economic zone, they are warranted to get 10% corporation tax, and opposed to paying 30%. They are also, and that is the only tax obligation they actually have to pay. They are exempted from customs duty on anything importations they do. They're exempted from value-added taxes, or rather that's zero-rated. So both your operational cost and your capital cost is really, reduced up to 50%. That enables you to scale and access other markets. Then this is just a structure. I'll not talk about the structure in detail, but I mentioned that we are definitely in the business service sector. So what you would ask, what sort of businesses, startups can thrive in the ecosystem that we've been able to build? So anyone in the global business services outsourcing, these are BPOs. Currently, we thrive and we taking pride. We are hosting the world globally leading BPO. And of course, most of the guys, young people working in this BPO are actually, young people from Kibera and the environments. And this BPO is called Teleperformance, employing over 5,300 young people in the last couple of years that they have been in operations in Kenya. Anyone in the tech and innovation industry, financial services, anyone looking to do holdcos and shared services within the zone, and professional advisory services. But why is it important that I've classified these business services? Is because, remember, I talked about numbers in Africa and how, other regions are experiencing a decrease in their population. So for the big enterprises that are renowned currently, for them to continue operating, they will need to transfer their back office operations. And when you talk about back office operations, because there are some operations that cannot be AI driven, we talk about, interactions with human beings. And that's why it's accessible to access talent within Africa. It's affordable. And now I believe with that much that we're able to get, this conference gives us another opportunity to be able to invest in our future. Then what's our ecosystem? Because as I mentioned, one of the key players things that we do is we've invested in the infrastructure. So Centum as a whole has invested over $300 million. I should have given that value in Bitcoin. But in terms of just giving, infrastructure that is ready to make regional businesses, startups be able in a ecosystem where they can be able to work, live, and play. So what have we done? We have, of course, the biggest retail space of around 70,000 square meters in East Africa. We have a four-star hotel within the zone where we are located. We have over 1,000 residential units within the zone. And we have, for further information, we have a booth, Written Traffic, where we are seated with also our partners of Centum Real Estate. You can come, we can be able to share and give you insight of how you can be part of this ecosystem. And that marks the end of my presentation. So how do you qualify? Of course, you have to be in business services, a business service scope. You have to have a regional access in terms, you should be serving at least the region or the globe. And you need the last two is will help you to get a license from the regulators. And that is how you can be able to scale. That was my time. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.